Hello, this is Tim Law with Playing It Forward Coaching, always encouraging your self-reliance. If you'll develop a marketable skill, chase that skill with a good work ethic, go the extra mile, develop people and communication skills, you'll be amazed at what you can accomplish in this country. A big thank you to over 560 people who subscribed to this channel, Playing It Forward Coaching. If you haven't already, please do so, be much appreciated. I have a gentleman here who I've gotten to know over the last couple of years. If he isn't the most enthusiastic guy as far as the classroom is concerned, I'd like to find somebody more so than him. My good friend, Ben Weaver. Ben, welcome. And please tell us about your background there. You explained to me off air, and it was fantastic. So tell everybody about what you've got going on behind you, why you're there, and then we'll get into kind of your life and your story.
Sure. Thanks, Tim. I appreciate it. Yeah, so the background here is one more born out of necessity, I guess, than anything. When we had the pandemic, of course, we had to very quickly shift to sort of a different mode of teaching. We were remote and so on and so forth, and I needed to find a place where I could help my students best learn in a way that my own three children, my two German Shepherds, those kinds of things were not interfering with that process. So I cleaned out a closet that was actually on the second floor of our house, all the way at the other end of the house, and then kind of hurriedly set up a lot of equipment here so I could effectively communicate with my kids. And that's kind of what it is. So what you're seeing is kind of a mixture of probably things that were left in the closet, some souvenirs, like there's a wooden shoe up there from a number of years ago whenever I went to Germany. That wooden toy is a marble track actually from Germany as well. I am a big kid. My students know this. So, there's like Transformers and an Iron Man up there and all kinds of stuff around here. So it's a lot of fun. And it's one of those things that I think during the pandemic helped me connect to my students at times there. And I think that was really, really good. They get to see you as a person, not just as a teacher. And I think that's
Sure.
great.
Sure. No, it makes total sense. And Ben, how long have you been teaching now? And, just kind of let us know about what your story is, what you teach and, kind of your background there. And I'm going to throw, some additional questions at you as we're moving along here.
Sure. So I have been teaching, I think 24 years or so overall. I spent actually a few months right out of York College, actually over at Southwestern High School outside of Hanover. I taught a few months there kind of as a long-term substitute. And then when I was finished there, I actually relocated back home to my home school district, the school district from which I graduated. It was Juniata County School District, and I got to teach at East Juniata High School, which was my high school alma mater. So it was a great experience, but the school district and the school were experiencing some growing pains, let's put it that way. And while I personally had a really good year there, I didn't feel like the educational philosophy was congruent to my own anymore. And I thought, well, you know what? I really like the York area. My mother actually grew up in the York area. My father from Lancaster, so I put out some applications both in the York and Lancaster area, and got a call from Northeastern and went through actually 3 interviews. I think I went through an interview, taught a lesson, had a third interview, and then was hired accordingly. So it's a great place to be. I have spent the majority of my teaching career here, and it's phenomenal. I mean, with all due respect to my alma mater, I'll tell you what, I think I'm a Bobcat at this point for life.
Well, that would certainly make sense, Ben. And wanted to also ask you about, kind of what your teaching philosophy is. I know you're very well liked by the kids, respected by the staff, administration, etc. So as far as your teaching philosophy and, just kind of let me climb into your mind here just a little bit.
Sure, absolutely. It's a really good question, my teaching philosophy as far as that goes. So I'm very much a believer in lifelong learning and education. I mean, full disclosure, I am the product of my environment. My father was my high school English teacher at East Juniata High School. So I have jokingly referred to myself as Mr. Weaver 2.0 in his presence at times. I'm the revised, I'm the updated software, I guess. He was the original iteration and I'm the revision, So I think because of that, I think I got to see teaching through the eyes of a teacher at a very young age. And I got to see both him in the classroom, and I also got to see the behind the scenes, like what was talked about around the dinner table that I always understood was never to leave that dinner table. So, that was kind of neat. So I think, being a lifelong learner is something that I've always valued. Education as empowerment is something that I've always valued very, very much. And something that I try to instill in my own children as well as my students. And I think it's really important. And I've said this to my students on a number of different occasions. As a teacher, I believe it's not my job to teach you what to think. It's my job to teach you how to think, and that is so incredibly important to me. You know, I want my students to go out and to be able to make informed, educated choices and decisions,
Mhm.
and really to realize their full potential. That is incredibly important to me. So, that's kind of my educational philosophy, my background as far as that goes, kind of what I believe in.
Mhm. Okay. And your wonderful wife Tiffany, I've only met her a couple times, certainly not, as often as you and I've seen each other. And now she's a member of the board. And how are things going for her and what she does and her role, that type of thing. And tell us a little bit about her and your three kids. You can talk about the German Shepherds if you want. It's up to you.
Sure, sure. Yeah, Tiff, I think I have been encouraging her. I think others in the school district have kind of encouraged her for the last number of years to run for school board. And my wife, God bless her, she's a humble person, and she said, "Well, I don't think I'd be qualified for that." I said, "Sweetie, you've lived the life of a teacher through my eyes, through your father-in-law's eyes, through our children. Certainly as students in Northeastern School District, we live in the district." Yeah, I said, "I think you're better qualified than a lot of people." And she ran. She was fortunate enough to be elected, and I really, she cares a lot about our students. She cares about our staff, and I really think is devoted to helping our students learn, helping our students be empowered, equipping our students for further education, for the job field, for the future. And she's really enjoyed it so far, and I think it's been challenging. It's been eye opening for her. It's been awesome. So, as I mentioned, you were saying about the family there. We have three children actually. Our oldest is a sophomore. We have a freshman now in high school, so two out of the three are actually in my building. I don't know how they feel about that, but it's Hannah, my daughter, actually is in my homeroom. Just happened by chance, and she was mortified. Put it that way. I think she's gotten over it now. But and then our youngest is actually in seventh grade over at Northeastern Middle School. So they've had really a really each one of them have had really good educational experiences at Northeastern. I speak, not just from the perspective of an employee, certainly the district, but also as a parent. My kids have learned very well so far, and I've been thrilled. As I know I've told you off camera, I have the utmost respect for my colleagues. I have the utmost respect for the district. I consider myself privileged to be among them.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, very, very well said. And it's a great community. It's a great group of kids, staff, admin, et cetera. They do their best to try to work as a team. And, certainly in this day and age, there's certainly challenges with education anywhere. Now, Ben, as far as what you want to see as far as your students are concerned going forward, what is it? Obviously, you want to see a certain level of growth, how to think, that type of thing. What other things would you like to put together there as far as what you'd like to draw out of your students?
Sure, sure. As I said, I think being independent thinkers, teaching students how to think critically, how to seek out information, how to source information to make informed decisions. To I want them to lead or have the capability to lead as opposed to following. And
Mhm.
if you're going to lead, you have to have that original thought. You have to have the ability to pull information from different sources to synthesize that information so that you can make those critical decisions. That is incredibly important to me. And going back to fundamentals, I guess maybe I'm a fundamental kind of guy. I tell my students a lot of the time, if you can read well, write well, and speak well, you can do almost anything you need to pretty well in
Yeah,
life. If you think about it. I mean,
sure.
I think those are incredible skills that are incredibly important. And that doesn't take away from other objectives. I mean, we need to prepare our students to, not just graduate, not just go to college or go into the workforce, but really to prepare for the future. We spend some time in class talking about what 21st century skills students are going to need, what they're going to need to prepare, not just for today, but tomorrow and beyond, and what that's going to look like. you know, what the future is going to look like, what the job market's going to look like, what kinds of careers they're going to get into, what the longevity of those careers are going to be at times. These are all things that we kick around and talk about as well. You know, it's we're using reading, we're using analysis, we're using writing, we're using all those kinds of things to delve into these different areas, really to prepare our students again for the future. And I think that's incredibly important. You know, our kids are going to enjoy, you know, I think levels of success, levels of technological advancement, levels of achievement that we probably have never seen. And you know, we need to prepare them for that. I think it's again, incredibly important.
So is it safe to say, Ben, that if any of your kids go into teaching, they will be the Weavers 3.0? Would that be accurate?
I think that's fair. Absolutely. Hey, and
Yeah.
you know what? I hope some of them do. I think some of them will. They keep talking to me about that. Whenever we do some career related writings and projects in class, I have students who still, you know, they want to get into education, and I think that's awesome. I really do, because you know, teaching is a challenging profession. It's a profession that requires a lot of commitment, not just with the head, but if you're going to do it well and you're going to do it correctly, it's a commitment of the heart as well. You know, you have to care about your students' intellectual well-being, their mental health, their emotional state, care about their futures, and so on and so forth. And I you know, that's, to me, I have some, you know, people ask me every now and then, you know, you've done this for 24 years, like, you know, what's wrong with you? That kind of thing. And I you know, or you've taught writing for 24 years, you've taught literature for 24 years. Doesn't that get boring? And never. Because yeah, I mean, you know, the writing evolves, and I switch in and out pieces of literature and so on, but the kids are always different.
Sure.
You know, and that's to me, has always been part of the beauty of teaching English, I guess, is that it's the study of people, it's the study of humanity, it's the study of our flaws and our triumphs, our failures and our successes. And you know, that is so exciting to me. And you know, I still, to this very moment, you know, when a kid gets something or we're engaged in a discussion and you see that look in their face, like I've connected something like that, that's so exciting to me. That will never get old. I will never get tired of that.
Sure, sure. No, couldn't agree more, Ben. Very well said. Ben, this has been wonderful. Any last second thoughts, and can you hang for a bit after we get finished here?
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. You know, last second thoughts, I would end this the way that I actually start and end every one of my classes. Every semester in every class, I start off on day one and I share with my own students, I have for years and years and years, my motto, mantra, mission statement, which is based on Horace, actually. It's part of a poem, just a line, I think from the Odes, if I'm not mistaken. And the line is, Carpe diem quam minimum credula postero. Seize the day, put minimum credit in the future. Seize the day, loosely translated, for tomorrow you may die. And I tell kids, you can't change the past and you can't absolutely control the future. But right here, right now is the difference that you can make. You own this moment. So make the most of it. Yeah. You know, and that's how I go into the year. It's actually, that always comes full circle for me. That's how I end the last day of my classes all the time. So maybe for, you know, if anybody's watching right now, who I have right now, I'm giving away something, I guess, for the last day, but that's okay. So they can hear it again. That's good. But yeah, I guess that's what I would encourage everybody to do. I seize each and every day, you know, like make the most of it. Don't put it off. You know, those things are incredibly important. I think that's how we make our difference.
Sure, sure. Yeah, yeah, very well said. Well, Ben, this has been wonderful. I appreciate it very much. I know we'll probably get a good number of people that'll check this out. And if they haven't had you for class yet, they'll be clamoring to be in Mr. Weaver's class.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you, Ben. I appreciate you.
Hey, thank you very much for having me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.